Welcome to Coin Story. I'm Pete. Coin Story focuses on the history of a single coin. Coins move through the ages from hand to hand and from decade to century. These coins represent the work and culture of the people that own them. Every coin has a story to tell if you're patient enough to listen. Take a little time out of your day and join me for a walk back in time. Every coin has a life, and each coin tells a story. Welcome back to Coin Story, the podcast where history speaks, one coin at a time. I'm your numismatic guide, Pete, and today we're examining a coin that may hold the future to Germany. Yes, folks, we're talking about Friedrich the Great, the Prussian king who made Machiavelli look like a substitute teacher and turned his kingdom into a Euro version of an overachiever kid who ruins the grading curve. The man who turned Prussia into a European powerhouse through cunning diplomacy, battlefield brilliance, and fierce independence. Fast forward nearly 2.5 centuries, and suddenly Germany is starting to hum a familiar tune, one of sovereignty, self reliance, and perhaps most controversial, a renewed military identity. Let's start with the coin. This is the 1786 Friedrich the Great Thaler, simple in design, yet weighted with symbolism, a portrait of Friedrich styled in the neoclassical fashion, crowned with not a laurel, but the distinct Prussian Pickelhelm helmet. Flip it over and boom, the Prussian eagle, wings out, talons out. One clutches a sword, the other a scepter, because nothing says, I can govern and stab you like that combo. A message loud and clear, order and might, intellect and sovereignty. Now ask yourself, could this coin be speaking to modern Germany? Now, fast forward a couple of world wars, one wall fall, and a lot of bratwurst. And Germany's been the cool but quiet kid in the NATO lunchroom, economically dominant, diplomatically cautious, and militarily neutered, just like a dog that came back from the veterinarian. Russia's aggression in Ukraine, tensions in Indo Pacific, and questions around NATO's long term unity have sparked a reevaluation in Berlin. In 2022, Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced a massive military investment, 100 billion euros to modernize Germany's armed forces. Now, we're not talking about this Scholz. Hogan! We're talking about this one. But more than money, this signaled a philosophical pivot, a move away from dependence on the United States and toward a more self reliant Europe. Sound familiar? Friedrich the Great was all about strategic autonomy. He forged alliances when it was useful, but never became beholden. He knew that to be a real global power, Prussia couldn't just rent security from others, it had to build its own. Today's Germany seems to be dusting off the same playbook. Is it a coincidence that European leaders are now speaking openly about a European pillar of defense, independent of American leadership? That Germany, once cautious, is exporting arms, planning a drone force, and talking about national interests in starkly realistic terms? Maybe not. Maybe Friedrich's coin isn't just a relic. Maybe it's a reminder. My ancestors have fought in every German military conflict since the Napoleonic Wars. My great grandfather was awarded the Iron Cross in World War I. My grandfather was one of the first German paratroopers during World War II. The future of Germany is very important to its people and the world. Germans need to remember the triumphs of their history, a social net, for the people, the arts, a constitution, science and technology, family, agriculture achievement, and most important, military power to protect the homeland. But most of all, Germany must leave the dark shadows in the past. Time to get rid of this coin. Germans must look to the examples of a great history. And would it be so bad if a panzer division was coming to the aid of Ukraine? If wolf packs were defending the sea lanes in the Strait of Hormuz? Or if the Luftwaffe was guarding the skies of Europe? 80 years is a long time for self-flagellation. It's time for Germany to awaken and rise. What does this mean for the transatlantic alliance, for Europe's future, for the balance of power? Will the past be a beacon for the future? Only time will tell. But this coin, this 1786 Thaler, reminds us that nations don't just change, they remember. And sometimes they return with old scripts written in silver, iron, and blood. Thanks for joining me on this journey from the mints of Prussia to the ministries of Berlin. If you like this episode, subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, coin lovers, Deutschland über alles. Remember, every coin has a life and a story to tell if you're patient enough to listen.